Good morning, Flosstube. My name is Laura, and I'd like to welcome you to Stitching by the Shore, my channel all about cross stitch with a little bit of paper crafting thrown in too. If you are new, I'd like to say welcome. Thank you so much for pressing play and giving my channel a try. I hope you like what you see. Maybe hit subscribe and like and all of that good stuff, and feel free to ask questions and just jump right in. And if you're a returning stitching friend, thank you so much for being here and sharing stitching with me and all of that good stuff. I really do appreciate the time you take to hang out with me. So thank you very much. We've got lots and lots and lots to talk about today. I am super excited about it. We had a stitch weekend. We had a virtual stitch weekend this past weekend, which I am so grateful to each and every one of you who jumped on. So it was it was so much fun, but I was exhausted by Sunday night. So we had a Zoom on Friday night. We had 3 different Zooms on Saturday and 2 on Sunday. And boy, did I sleep Sunday night. And I am not a sleeper. So it was so much fun. I got a lot accomplished. I started something over the weekend. I finished something over the weekend. I tried something new for myself. I scrapbooked. It was just so much fun. So each session, so there were 6 different Zooms. And for myself, I made it a theme just so that I would have something kind of to do that time, and it would kind of guide me a little bit. And I had said with the themes, if anybody joining in wants to do something with the theme, fantastic. Or you could just stitch whatever you happen to want, or craft, or organize, or do whatever you wanted during the Zooms. So that meant that I got a lot accomplished. So that was awesome. I really liked the variety that I have from this past weekend. And a really big shout out to each and every one of you who never Zoomed before, especially if you are quiet or shy by nature. I know, trust me, I know how difficult it is, because I am actually a really quiet, kind of shy sort of person. And I understand that. I know, you don't have to talk and you can, but the initial just getting on that Zoom is difficult sometimes. And so just kudos to you if you did it. And I hope that, you enjoyed yourself. Friday night was our busiest time, and I'm still learning how to do Zoom as a host. So thank you to all who were patient with me. But I just wanted to say shout out to everybody, but a special shout out to those who maybe were a little nervous, maybe never done it before, maybe you're a little shy, and you did give it a go, because that takes a lot of guts. And I really do. I want to make sure that you're proud of yourself for doing that, because it really, it's a step doing something totally new and different. And hopefully, if you did that, you'll feel more comfortable as we do more Zooms. And if you didn't this time, that's okay. There'll be hopefully many more options, and we can do it. And hopefully I will figure out the whole link thing to make it a little bit easier for people to just jump on. Now, the entire Stitch weekend was a lot, so I probably wouldn't do that all the time. Besides which, Mo would probably be like, again. But I'm hoping, just even whether it's weekdays or weekends, to throw in some Zooms at least once or twice a month, and all of that kind of stuff. Maybe picking different times of the week and days and all of that kind of stuff when I can, just so that we can include our friends across the world and all of those close to home as well. So just a big shout out and thank you to each and every one of you. It meant so much that you joined on and spent time with me, and you taught me stuff, and I hope you had a good time as well. So that's that. So keep an eye out. Excuse me. You do not have to be a member of my Facebook group. I will announce things beforehand on the videos, or maybe sometimes I might do some pop-up Zooms. And I was thinking, if I find out that he's going to pickleball, maybe we'll do a pickleball pop-up Zoom, just because I'll have a few hours on my hands. So if I don't have time to put it on a video, while I would put it on my Facebook group, I will also put it in, how YouTube, you can put updates in your community tab. I would do something like that as well. So this way you are included. And if you needed to get a hold of me for anything, I mean, with the link, I don't know if I can, maybe I can put it on the community tab. Put that paper right there. However, it will work. So please don't feel like you have to do a piece of social media that you do not want to. The Facebook group is there for those who enjoy it. But for whatever reason, if that's not what you're into, I want to make sure you're included as well. So I'll do my very best to do so. All right. So we have actually 2 finishes. I'm looking at my, on my notes here, I only marked 1 as a finish. 2 finishes, 2 starts. I only marked 1 of those as a start too. Apparently my notes are not very complete this morning, so we'll see how that goes. So 2 finishes, 2 starts, a couple scrapbook fully finished pages, and yeah, just a lot to jump into, and so exciting plans for next week, a new start. So let's get going. Alrighty. I worked on, not counting the fully finished scrapbook pages, I worked on 10 projects this week. So let's just jump right in. The first one is Quaker Blooms, and it's From the Heart, Needleart by Wendy. Now it's an absolutely beautiful pattern. Given the fabric that I chose to stitch it on, these colors, they kind of faded into it and didn't really pop the way I wanted it to. So I changed every one of the colors. There's only 5. In the description box below, you'll see a description of all the different pieces and the fabrics and this and that. And I list the 5 different colors. Now, except for this peachy one, which became a pink, they're all just jazzed up colors. So the blue is just a brighter blue. This kind of mauve is just a red. The lighter green is it. So it is pretty easy to figure out which color I switched out for which, but if you ever have a question, feel free to ask, you know, and just say, for this DMC, is this the one you changed? I'd be happy to let you know. So there's mine. I gotta make sure it's the right side up because at one point I was looking at it upside down. So this is done on an 18 count Summer Storm from To Die For Fabrics. You know, if you are new, I have a love of all things blue fabrics. So you're going to see all sorts of shades and types and this and that of blue, at least one blue every week, if not multiples. And I love these lighter blues in the different types of hues and shades. So you'll see, you're actually, I think the next project, the next 2 projects are on blues. So there you go. Actually 4. Oh yeah, we're just going to keep going. It's 1 week I'll do nothing but blues. But anyway, so that's what it looks like. And that's what it is jazzed up. I'm getting there. I did work on this a little bit this weekend. And I kind of picked it up here and there. This is one of those where, you know, maybe one day I worked on that and then another day I worked on. I couldn't zoom for this part here because the counting is a little bit more intensive, and I found with the zooming, my brain wasn't multitasking well enough. So I did other stuff. All I need to do for the picture is there's some greenery right here and a few red pieces for flowers. Now here, it's supposed to say the word bloom. Technically, I could probably get away without putting anything there, but I may put something here. I thought about down here too, but I don't know. Here is kind of empty looking. So what I might do, I'll probably do another one of, see those blues? I might put that right there and go from there. And once I do that, I'll see what it looks like. That might work just fine, and I might not need to put anything else. But I decided I'm just going to take the word bloom off. So that's what it looks like. Super excited. This one is close. This is close to finish. So this would definitely, I'm no longer promising finishes by end of a month. I'm promising finishes by end of a season. So this should be a summer finish. That's how we're going with it now. After my woefully inadequate timing for my Philadelphia piece, I've realized that trying to predict finishes, oops, let me put the thing in here too. It just doesn't work very well. Okay, next. So next, this one was started this month because I decided to jump into the cross stitch camp for June. Cross stitch camp is something that is put on by Colorado Cross Stitch, who does have a Flosstube, and I think it's Flosstube number 39 that discusses it, because there's themes for June, July, and August. So you can jump in and out however you want. And the theme for June was to stitch something with a bird. So I pulled this out, and I'm going to cover the spring because I am doing the summer. So if you want to see the full, this is Season's Blessings 2. There is one with fall and winter, autumn and winter. I'm not sure what it's called. I wanted to concentrate on summer, and I loved that beautiful yellow bird. So that's what I'm doing. And I think, well, the goal is to get it done by the end of the month. Now, if sometimes you just want to use it as a start, you can. But I think sometimes the goal of these is to do some smalls and to get starts and finishes. So my goal is to try to get that finished by the end of the month. And I'm pretty good on track. So we are 1 day removed from the middle of the month, and I would say that I'm probably more than halfway done. Now this is charted. If you can see, like the nest in some overdyes flosses, I am just doing all DMCs, which are provided in the chart. And here we go. Here's another blue, which I love. I think the original is super pretty, but with the blue, I feel like that yellow bird and this is Lila Studio, by the way. I don't think I said that. I feel like the bird just pops on this blue. Now this is a different blue than the one you just saw. It's a little bit lighter. It's 18 count Icelandic blue from To Die For Fabrics. And the white is subtle, but the white can be seen because there are some white flowers. So that's good to know. But really, that bird just pops. I absolutely love it. So it's kind of like the bird is against a summer sun with maybe some light little clouds in the background. Love, love, love. So the big part I have left here, I have border to bring down, and I think there's a little bit of berries here that are in the back. So it's not a nest, it's a basket, looking at it this way, yeah. So there's a big basket right here, and then the word blessings. So it's definitely doable. I don't think that should be a problem for finishing. And even changing the colors, it's not too back and forth with colors, because there's not that many colors in the overall pattern itself. Does this say? No, that one doesn't say. Let me see. I get sometimes confused because the two charts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, there's only 7. Now it's charted in Classic Colorworks. Both of these are spring and summer, but they give full DMC conversions. And I like the colors that were chosen for the DMC conversions. So one last time, and hopefully, I don't necessarily think it'll be a finish next week, but it will be a finish by the end of the month. That one I am predicting a month finish. So that's for Cross Stitch Camp. And I don't know, I know July is something that grows. So you could do more birds, you could do people, plants, animal. I mean, there's lots of different things that grow, right? So we'll see. I don't know if I will do it again. I'll see what I have for charts. I'll see what my plans are. I have a tendency the rest of the year, a lot of my plans happen to be larger projects. So while I could start something in the course of a month, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't be able to finish it. So we'll play that one by ear. Because if I have to slate in a start and a finish in the course of a month, that may push some of my other stuff back. Okay, next. I was surprised when I went to look. I always double check to make sure I'm saying the right fabric colors. So I look in my notes of when I last stitched something, or I look in previous notes from videos, and that usually will give me what the fabric is. And it's been a few weeks since this one got stitched on, which I was kind of surprised. At least I know last week it didn't get stitched on. And this is Owl Forest Embroidery, and it is Black Vintage Sampler. So up close, that's what it looks like. I started this on the 1st of January. It's big. So there's no way it's getting done in the course of this year. I don't know if I necessarily had an expectation that it would. It would have been nice, but I'm not even halfway really yet. So let me show you full piece. So obviously that's a little bit longer, but that's that's what it looks like. I can actually go over like this because this is the edge right there. So that's what it looks like. I've kind of slacked on the border on this side. I've done much better on this side here, keeping going with the border. So I need to do a little bit better with that. This time around, I use this for my Friday night Zooms when we were Zooming on Friday night. And I think a good portion of the time I filled in some more of the horse. I wanted something that I could do, and there was no way I could do this element right here, talk and stitch and count and zoom. So I did border, I did the horse. Oh, and I did more of, I folded it a little bit. I definitely did more of this middle border underneath the house. I pulled that across too, because I wanted to make sure. That's always nice to do. Like, for example, right above the horse, there's a small little element that I could stitch. And those kinds of things are great during Zooms. So I do like the border in that sense, because I do kind of go back and forth and count things off of the border and the border off of things. And then I did give myself some more stitching time this week, and I did concentrate more on this. So you can see it's this beautiful kind of tree, floral tree, flower tree, whatever kind of tree. But there's a lot of counting that needs to be done. So I only had the top part done, and I did have the stem in this, but so now I'm going back and filling in all the parts. So if I'm zooming, I probably won't do that, but I will give myself, set aside some time at some point and get that element finished, which I think is beautiful. But it is probably one of the more intensive elements for counting, so I would like to get that one done. This itself is done. You'd think I didn't do this every week. On 18 count rainy day from Bestitchme, and I wanted something like this. Black vintage sampler kind of reminds me of Victorian era to a certain way, between the man and the woman, and you know, maybe with the other type of elements, the balloons, and just, so I wanted something. I was thinking London and gray and kind of, so I wanted this blue with the gray. It was perfect. I don't know if it came as a fabric of the month. It might have, actually. It probably did, because it's an 18 by 29 and her fabric of the months are usually that size. What was I going to say? There was something else I was going to say about this. I hemmed and I hawed, and I had a few other options, but this one really, really worked. I don't remember what it is I was going to say besides that. You know how you have something that's fleeting in your mind, and unless you really pay attention to whatever that thought is, it's gone. So maybe you'll see this, maybe you won't. I certainly do work on it besides Zooms, but it is a great, great Zoom piece. So I do enjoy working on it during Zooms. And I know there are some others that are working on it as well. So it's fun to see their differences and their changes and how their piece looks. Oh, I know what I wanted to say. I am not stitching this in 310 black. I am stitching this in Anchor. So that's Anchor Black, if you're interested. Every once in a while, I do get asked if there's a reason why I use Anchor rather than 310. I don't know if consciously there is. For some reason, I just prefer it for larger swaths of black. If there's just a little bit of black in a piece, I'll use 310. For example, the full coverage you're going to see this week had some black in it a little bit, but it's not huge amounts, and I just pulled the 310 with the colors. So that's the one that you're going to see. The next one, while it is a digital, and you normally need to have me show you the pattern on the iPad, I don't have to, because it's a finish. Yes, I finished Philadelphia. Can you believe it? I didn't, coming from you from last week. There we go. I wouldn't have necessarily said that I'd have a finish, but I don't know. It just seemed to all come together, and I did. Maybe one day I worked on it a little bit longer, but for the most part, I did keep it as my 25/7, probably maybe 35/7. I just pulled out all of the colors that were left. There were something like 12 colors left. There was still quite a bit. And there were little pieces where there was just one stitch or two stitches. And I do have a mistake. I can't even remember where it is exactly, but there is one color I'm confused with another color. I was thinking I was stitching one and I looked at a different symbol, but it matches with this whole theme, so I worked with it. This pattern comes from Awesome Pattern Studio. They're on Etsy, and I'm stitching it on 18 count Nantucket Sky by Fabrics by Stephanie. I am stitching this, Megan decided, I asked Megan, do you want me to scrapbook it or would you like it? And she said if she would like it, so I think I'm going to frame it for her because she is living in Philadelphia. So I thought that was a lot of fun. And she does work in the downtownish area, so that kind of works as well. So that's what it looks like. A lot of fun, a lot of color changes, a lot of color changes. So just be prepared. The Awesome Pattern Studio has a ton of cities. So there's so many to choose from depending on what you're looking for. But definitely be prepared for the color changes. But I like it. And they do have this piece. This is their small. They have a medium version, which comes down farther. And then they have a large version, which has, I think you stitch some sky as well as farther down. And they may actually have a diamond painting version. I'm not 100% sure on that. But I know there's 3 versions of the stitched piece. And it's cool because down here they have road and they have like a bus and some other stuff. So depending on how, and I don't know if they do this with other cities. I happened to just click on some of the extra pictures when I was looking at this one day after showing it to you. Depending on how big a piece you wanted, how much you want included, I decided I just wanted this main element part of it. So that's what, well, let me be completely transparent. I didn't know there was 2 other parts to it. I only thought it was just the small one. I never realized that there were a medium and a large as well, because I think it's all in one listing and I never just paid attention when I originally got it. But I don't think it needs to be any bigger for what it is. Maybe if I myself lived in Philly, I'd want that, but for what it is, excuse me, I think it's just fine. So we have a finish. This wasn't finished during the Zoom weekend. This wasn't my finish. I did have a finish though. But I'm super happy to get this one done. You know, while I enjoyed stitching on it, near the end, I had kind of gotten that, let's just be done already kind of feel with it. Because there were so many color changes and I was getting to the point where it was just stitch 5 and change another color and this and that it was getting a little bit cumbersome is not the word I'm looking for. It's not coming to me right now, but you know what I mean. It just, I had gotten to all the enjoyment I think I was going to get out of it, and then the next part of enjoyment was going to be the actual last stitch of finishing it kind of thing. So now I do need to show you for my next one. This was on Saturday morning, my Saturday at, what time did we do Zoom? I think it was at 10 Saturday morning. I tried to do different time zones here on the East Coast, just so that other people in other parts of the country, other parts of the world would be able to join into depending on where they happen to be. So we had evening ones and morning ones and a couple afternoon ones. So I thought that was a lot of fun. I had been wanting to start this month. So this was slated for a June start even before we decided to do the virtual stitch weekend. And it just worked out perfectly. Then I said, you know what? I'm just going to do it as a start. This is from Little Dove Designs, and this is their show. There we go. They're showing it crooked in their listing, so I'm going to do this. This is called Gnomeville, and I just like the cute factor. I like the brightness of it. Nothing specific. Yeah. Now I did go lighter fabric, so that's kind of a cool green fabric that they're showing it on right there. I went with lighter. I do have a green tone though, but just much different. I'm hoping you'll notice that the 2 white spots that could be a little sticky are the signposts up top on the first row, and in the middle then, you know, we have this part right here. I think because there's enough other things around it, it should be fine. Like, I'm not particularly worried about the fence post or the small one up here, or like the beards, because there's other things that surround it. But you know, if I have to, I could do a light back stitch. I wouldn't do black because I feel like that would stand out too much. But so when in the paper crafting world, sometimes you would add just a slight bit of shadowing to a stamped image if you wanted it to feel like it was popping a little bit or distinguishing it from the background. And you would use just variations of grays. I have, oh, I don't think you can see in my, no, you can't really see, but in my marker bin, I have probably about 10, 12 different shades of grays that are all different variations. So I think if I was to backstitch it, I probably would do it in a light shade of gray, just so that it would kind of distinguish it without making the backstitch pop out, because that's not really the look I'm looking for. I'm just looking for it to show up. But I will wait until it's all stitched and pick and choose if that needs to happen. So it doesn't look like much, but we had a mistake, and this is actually a lot of stitching. This was a 2-hour Zoom block that this was started in, and I did work on it for the 2 hours. Yes, I know the margins are tight. Most of the time, okay, you know I don't give 3-inch margins except for, say, full coverage usually. They're normally tighter, but they're not usually this tight, unless for some reason I know it's being I'm not using any extra fabric. And I still, though, I count, I double count, I do my math a few different times, and I don't know, I think I did the math, and I don't know why I cut it, because this is from a bigger piece. I just decided to cut it from the bigger piece. Sometimes I leave it on the bigger piece and then cut after. But anyway, I clearly didn't count right. So originally I had more of a margin here, and I had started right here. And I had gone across, I was going across, and I did a little bit down as well, but not very far, probably no farther than maybe a little bit of where you see the flower. And I was going along, and it's just a repeating border, super easy, great resume, wasn't having any problems. And I was getting closer to the edge, and I was looking at how much I had left over of fabric. And so you do the dreaded counting. You count the squares, and you count how many squares are in your pattern. And nope, I wasn't going to get it. It wasn't going to happen. I might have been able to, but it literally would have had 1 square or 2 squares left. So then I had a little mini panic, not big panic, but you know, I mean, that was hour, whatever was worth of stitching that now all of a sudden was down the drain, right? I was thinking, oh, I probably wouldn't even just pull out the whole thing. I probably would have just cut it and used this small piece for something else. Debbie said, wait, is this a repeating border? I said, yes. She said, okay, can you move this side over and see if you can fit it in that way? She's a genius. I'm so grateful she was on the Zoom that day. So I was able, because I had given this, you know, a decent amount of border. It doesn't need that much. So I was able to pull over a couple more of these little areas. That's that side. And I stitched all the way. So now it'll start coming down from there. So, yep, it's tight, but you know, it is the way it is. Now there is, underneath the red, there is a white border. I don't know how indicative that would tell me about white showing up, but if it is any signal, I might have to do a little bit of back stitching, but that's okay. This is an 18 count Morning Mint from Atomic Ranch, and it's a beautiful light, very light, subtle green. You know what might look good on it? Let me see, as I'm just thinking, I need to look at it. Yeah, wouldn't the spring blessings look really pretty on that? I think it would, because you've got that blue bird and those beautiful kind of pink flowers. Just think how that would look on that fabric. Really, really pretty. I have extra, so I have a feeling I might be doing that. Let me put this back actually, so I don't, oh no, that doesn't go there. Let me put it back here. So I digress. As I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking about other things to start. And then I wanted something besides just the red border, so I just gave myself, this week I just put in that little bit of flower because I was curious to see how another color would look on this fabric. And it looks fun. I like it. So this is just going to be a cute, whimsical stitch. We diverted disaster, so I feel so much better about that. it's going to be scrapbooked. I'm not in the least bit worried about the borders because it's going to have a natural border. So it'll get cut down to maybe, you know, half an inch from that border. So I have plenty of room to do that without a problem. So, so yeah, you know, so sometimes, see, that's where it really, really helps to have other people with me, because I can guarantee you I would not have thought of that myself if I was by myself. And I don't know if I would have just scrapped it and started over. Maybe I would have put it in timeout to kind of talk it over with you all. That's a possibility too, because I find you all usually give me some great suggestions. This is a type of hibiscus tea. It's got a theme tea. It's not, so I don't know what type of hibiscus, but it's nice and lovely. So you know that hibiscus is probably my favorite kind of flavor tea-wise, and it's good for you. So now, the second session on Saturday was scrapbooking my stitches. So I think I'm going to start hashtagging scrapbook your stitches for those who want a different way of finishing. And somebody did show some of their scrapbooked pieces on one of the Zooms, and they were beautiful. Please, please, I would always love to see them if you have them. She did a wonderful, lovely job, and I was just blown away how good her pieces look that way. So anyway, I do have two pieces, and I wanted to show you. So I was a little bit back and forth in that Zoom, because if I went to do the paper cutter, I muted it because, you know, I have a guillotine paper cutter that makes noise and all of that good stuff. So I was back and forth looking at different things I had some cardstock pulled out and some patterned paper, but you know, the process is not, the initial process of trying to scrapbook my pieces is not neat or clean, because I have enough supplies that I need to do a little bit of like rooting around. If I had less, or if I bought for a specific piece, my life would be a lot easier. So anyway, here's my first one. Ooh. And this is a stitch piece by Annie B's Folk Art, whose, side note, when I got this piece, it was digital that I got, and the digital was not, no, it wasn't. It was a physical piece. And I want to say that I got a batch of physical pieces where it was blurry, and so you actually really couldn't read the symbols. I reached out to Annie B's. She was so lovely, and she made it right so that I had a digital version that I could read, and because I was able to prove I bought it, obviously. And shout out to her for some fabulous customer service. But anyway, if you wanted me to find out, I don't remember off the top of my head what it's called, but I enjoyed stitching it. And so scrapbooking wise, I wanted to first highlight the colors. So I knew I wanted, I think, a red base, which is what that is, real red for you Stampin' Up! Friends, and I think Nida Navy. So thinking about it, I decided that the immediate matte was going to be red. I wasn't sure about adding the blue yet. Usually I have one color that I like to immediately matte a piece just to kind of pop it. It's like when you do matting for framing, right? And I was going through my papers, and this one here, if you look up close, it's all little fish, and it's a gradation from light. So it's the sea, from the darker sea up to the light. And I thought, how perfect with that? Because there's little fish around the whale, and that's what happens with whales, right? They all swim along the whales. So that was perfect, perfect, perfect. And then the red didn't look quite right, so I did add the navy matting as well. So this size would be an 8.5 by 11, so that'll go in that book. Love it, love it. And then I'll put these up here, not with my stitch. Ooh, that one flying on the table. Then I did a smaller piece, and this one I was a little stymied for a little while, but I like how it turned out. So this one right here is a Stone Street Stitch Works piece. I want to say over the summer, for a portion of the summer, Stone Street does go on vacation. They're on Etsy, but I think there is an option. I don't know if you have to, if the store owner has to, I can't remember. I used to say, it used to be something where when I put my Etsy shop on vacation, if you wanted to be notified when they came back, you could just put your email address in and Etsy would notify you when the store came back, kind of thing. So that's a possibility if you like Stone Street and you want to wait. So this one, I knew I wanted the red, and I went with a deeper red. So this is, I want to say like either a cherry cobbler from Stampin' Up or Gina K's version, which I can't remember what it's called. And I knew I wanted the black because the black as the base, but I needed something besides that. And that's when I asked on the Zoom, and you know, a bunch of people mentioned gray. So I had lighter gray and darker gray, and I felt like the darker gray really matched up nicely with the gray in the pattern. And I was just gonna, I had just that, and then I said, what do I do? And so I don't know if you can see up there? And I did it on both sides. I have dry embossed snowflakes, and that is to mimic the snowflakes up here, plus there's snowflakes around there. And so in person, you can see it perfectly when it'll go in the scrapbook. You can tell what they are, snowflake wise. They're a little bit different design than the ones stitched on, or this big one right here, but that's okay. You know, I mean, you can tell it's a snowflake. So I was able to tie in an element. Now, my embossing folders, well, I do have some larger ones. I don't necessarily have them wide enough for this piece. If I could have turned it the other direction, I would have potentially done the whole top part here and then the whole bottom part down there, and then left this sides without any. But if I did that, it wouldn't fit. I have a Cuttlebug, which is what I use for my dry embossing, and it wouldn't fit in the Cuttlebug that way. I needed to feed the cardstock in this way, or yes, because it was just the cardstock at the time. So I just did the width this way of the embossing folder. I don't know how far down it came, just, you know, not all the way. I didn't feel the need to go all the way on it, so I just did partially, and then I flipped it over, did this side, and there you go. So this will go in my smaller book, and I love how they both are finished. I did try to work on two others. One wasn't coming to me. I tried a bunch of different things and colors, and I don't know if I might need to get what I kind of think in my head. I'm not sure I have. And then the other one was Spring Birds by Country Cottage Needleworks, and there's so many bright colors. I was trying to figure out what colors I want to highlight on that one. I think I know, but it needs something in the background, and I think I know what it is. There's one piece of pattern paper I can see in my head, kind of the style. So I need to go on scrapbook.com and see if I can find that. So hopefully we might see some more scrapbook pieces in the near future. But those two were done, and I'm super excited. In the books they go, which means I'm that much closer to be able to do a flip through of the scrapbooks. And if you do happen to ever have questions, feel free to ask me. I'm hoping to maybe do some crafty Zooms where sometimes that's what I do, or you can do any type of craft. And if you do put something on social media, use hashtag scrapbook your stitches, because I would love to see it. I looked down there and I didn't see that hashtag, so we're good, I think. I guess apparently Instagram has messed up the algorithm, or changed, I guess, from their point of view, my point of view, their algorithm of tags. So you can't necessarily see most recent anymore. It's all popularity. So, but it showed nothing for that tag. So I'm pretty confident that it's not been used. Considering I don't see a lot of people scrapbooking their cross stitch. Probably hasn't been used. Now this was the finish that I got during my Zoom. This is resting, resting Stitch Face. She probably has one of those, doesn't she? But this is resting Beach Face. Anyway, so I wanted to show this to you because I changed it up just a tad. I did not stitch. Do you see where the words are? And she's got the white background. I didn't stitch that. I waited to the very end, thought about it, and decided no. I liked it the way it was. So I want to say that's probably the only change. Otherwise, I kept all the colors the same and everything. So there's my finish. Isn't she cute? And I really like it like this. I'm trying to think. If there's anything else that no, that was the only change. I think I know how I want to fully finish this one, so we'll see if I get some finishing time. I hopefully maybe I'll have something to show you. I did include all the back stitching. Oh, the only other thing I did include, there was just some stray confetti-like pieces of pink by these stars, which I didn't really think it added much, so I didn't do. But otherwise, she's done. That was hands-on design. I did go a little bit darker in the fabric. I went with 18 count dive in from Bestitchme, and I think it's fantastic. I really like, so you look at this dive in and it's a brightish blue, right? But now this is the second piece I've worked on with this, and I really like how the colors pop. And the other piece that I stitched on this was the Thankful Sunflower, and so the colors are different, very different than this, and they both really look good on it. I'm really pleased. There was something else I was thinking about starting, and I'm trying to think what it was, and I was thinking maybe that dive in would work. So something that you look at it and you say, oh, I don't know if really I can make anything work with that. Use your color wheel if you have it. I highly recommend use your DMC charts if you have it, or anything else that you have that really kind of explores color, because you might make some really good connections. All right, I put away Mini Paris Morning, and I had been wanting to stitch for a little bit Hidden Harbor from Andy Russell. So that's what it looks like. We had some issues with Hidden Harbor this week. And I am mostly, I had come down this way, and then I really wanted to focus this week on going all the way across. If you are new, I had a dilemma with this one, because this was, I tell you that I normally don't miscut fabric, and here's the second one this video that I'm talking about, but I did cut this one a little bit too short. And I was really worried about it with full coverage, but many of you, and you'll see, I had mostly what's done here. I had so much done, and people said, you know what, you can either attach some fabric to the side, because if I ever got these full coverages done, I probably would frame them. And it could be framed, or it might be enough in the end. It's at least 2 inches, so not to worry about it. So I did keep going, but I wanted to get the top done so that I could see where it is. So let me show you right now here. And this is all this that I had definitely done. So that's why I had started going across. And so that's why I was really hesitant, because that's a lot of work. I didn't work on any of that this week. I worked over here. So, actually I can even fold this. Did I do any of that green? I don't remember. Well, let me show you my problem first. So I was going along, and I was working, and I was counting and counting off. Well, I had gotten all the way to the edge, and I don't know if this looks funny now, because, and I've already ripped a bunch out, I had counted off from here, and I had multiple colors that I was counting off of that one off piece. But this was going to be an issue all the way down the piece. And I'm one for fudging if I can. And if sometimes with the full coverage, I just put one piece in the wrong spot, and then I'll put one of the colors next to it, you know, especially if it doesn't really, if it's a background, I don't think it matters that much in the grand scheme of things. But this was multiple colors, and things build off of it, and I just didn't feel, I felt like I would be spending more time having to rechart and recount and figure out that entire row than I would pulling out. So I did do some pull out, and I've got this, it's cut. I just every once in a while rip some more out. And so I had stitched a whole bunch here that now is no good. So because I didn't want to spend all the time redoing it, I did do some more over here. So as you can tell with the pattern, you're gonna have, you see how all of these lovely colors kind of go across and down. So that's the part that I'm working on. Once I have all of this pulled out, I will properly count over and try to get that done. I'm gonna have to I'm using this as a paper. I know you all are rolling your eyes at me. I want to print off that last page. I mean, it's not a full page. It's probably half of a page because I have marked off already things that I had thought I'd stitch. So I want to redo that and then focus back on this section. So that, as you can see, that's my border, and it's not going to fray because this is the end part of it. So that's really good. I know that's how much I have. So I think I should be just fine. And I'm so glad I listened to all of you and didn't restart and kind of throw out all my work here. So it's going to be a beautiful piece when it's done. Ooh, 18 count, 2 strands over 1, full cross. So it's going to be a big piece. I mean, if you look, I think it's wider than it is taller, but that's all the fabric. So it's got a ways to go, and yep, there's confetti. So there'll be some work to do, but I am going to continue working on it this week, and it might get a little bit longer because I do want to make sure it gets the 1,000 stitches, not the 1,000, not including the ones that I had to pull out. So I'd like to redo that section and really maybe try to get, there's a lot of darker colors if you look here in that section over there, but it's not, there's pieces of confetti here and there, but it's not crazy confetti. So I might be able to do some focus on that. So we'll see. Alrighty, moving on here. My next, oh yes, Andy Russell, I did say that was it. One of my, on Sunday afternoon, my theme was to try something new. And I've been meaning, I see Janet Jabber with her Mill Hill Mondays. She just does those like they are easy peasy. And I said, you know what? I am going to try something new. And I've been collecting some Mill Hills, some Satsumas, these patterns. And so not a lot, probably have about 5 or 6. But one day I have to start them because then, you know, there's others that are super cute, like are in my wish list, but I refuse to keep getting them if I'm not going to stitch them. So I tried to find one that was smaller. I'm not even going to know which way is the proper way of this. Oh, I think this is the proper way. And start small. So I chose Evergreen Sleigh from Mill Hill. And if you see the cute little doggy here, I've had this since before we lost Shamrock. So of course this was, I had to get this. Anything with the little doggies that are white and little tiny little things look close enough like Shamrock that, you know, I'm all in. So when I saw this sleigh, I said, yep, I have to get this one. It's a little memory of Shamrock. So I am starting obviously with the stitching like I'm supposed to. I had so many questions on that Zoom. Thank goodness so many of you came to my rescue and help. It is perforated paper, which I'm not hating, to be honest with you. So I only have one color done, but I think it's that, and that's it for that entire color. So I think I'm done with that one. Thoughts. So my thoughts on a Mill Hill. First off, the patterns are awful to read if you do not have the best eyesight, which I don't. So I did, and I didn't realize that. I had everything all set during the Zoom, and I said, whew, I think I'm going to have to go make a working copy of this. So I ran, our printer also has like a copy option. So I ran downstairs, made a quick copy of it because I need to mark things off. You know, there was just, and I'm trying to decipher, you know, I mean, everything is there. The symbols for the beads, the symbols for the stitching, it's all kind of mixed in. So I found that a little bit challenging. And I did realize that during Zooms, I'm not gonna be able to do Mill Hills, even though they're small and they're tiny, and you would think they would be doable. For me and my brain, Zooming and Mill Hills are not gonna match, but that's what it looks like. So it called for 3 strands of the, I noticed that they gave, what they gave is they also give a DMC conversion, which is good. So if I make a major mistake, I know what DMC color to pull, which I thought was really useful. I don't hate the perforated paper. It's thicker than I thought it would be, to be honest with you. The only thing I found, because the holes are bigger and I'm using the needles they gave, my needle kept falling through because usually I'm used to, as I'm going from one side to the next, I'm used to the needle kind of staying stuck in the hole, but it kept falling out. But that's easily fixed or whatever. So there we go. There we have my little start of a Mill Hill. Now Janet is so good that every Monday she works on her Mill Hill. I'm not sure that I'm ready for Mill Hill Monday yet, but I really do like that idea. And I enjoyed that first little part. So I figured, and I'm going to make that probably into an ornament like the picture shows. I figured it's a great way to try something, and it's a good way to try some beading. I mean, I put like 5 beads on a trading card last year. So that's the extent of my beading experience. So I thought this would be a really great way to kind of learn a little bit about beading and this and that. I don't necessarily see myself beading everything, but you know, it's nice to know, right? And then the very last session for our stitch weekend was colorful, all about color. And so I wanted to pick something that was super colorful. The fabric has a nice color and sparkle. Does that give it away? And the pattern itself is a lot of color changes and bright and bold and fun. And I pulled out Wizard of Oz Tree from Tiny Modernist. My fabric is a bit bluer than what you're going to see here, although I do really like it on what's shown. Does it say? Touch of Blue by Witchold, which is funny because it almost looks, yeah, I guess it would be blue. From this angle, it looked kind of green to me. Mine's a brighter blue, and it is an opal, so I don't know if you can see the sparkle, which I thought would be so much fun for this. And it is an 18 count opal blue ice from To Die For Fabrics. So if we come on up, I got a good amount of done. I got almost 500 stitches on this during the Zoom. I finished her. She's got some back stitch in her face. I'll do the back stitch at the end. The hourglass, the flower, extending some more of this part with the, you know, the tree, as opposed to, like, you know, you have your tier trays. This is more of a tree type of aspect. And then I had started over here and I ran out of time. I have more leaves to do up here, but I didn't feel like that would be a good Zoom thing to do because there is a decent amount of counting. But I love the color. I love it. It's so much fun and bright, and really, really enjoyed stitching that section of it. So I am looking forward to stitching more of this. For the most part, I think I'll keep it the same. I might do a 12 for the ruby slippers. We saw the ruby slippers, what was it, the American Museum of History in Washington. I believe they have the ruby slippers on display, which was kind of fun. That were in the movie. So that was the last piece I did over the stitch weekend, and I'm glad I did it. I think that one was a lot of fun. That I haven't decided if that would be displayed or, well, displayed in a frame or displayed in a scrapbook. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know. This one is definitely going to be scrapbook. This is the last piece to show you, which I'm sure you're like, thank goodness, because we're coming up on an hour. It's so funny because when I start this and about 3-4 projects in, I can see the time on the camera. And I'm like, oh, wow. I think to myself, this is going to be a quick video. And then I get to talking and, you know, next thing you know, we're an hour in. So this is On the Beach from Stitchrovia. You know, I'm determined by the end of the summer to get this piece finished. It's almost a couple years old now. I was going through my book I started keeping track in January of 2020, and I have it in like a composition notebook by month. So I was going through, and I think I can put like 5 or 6 years of projects, which is going to be fun. But I looked back, and this one started way too long ago, so it needs a finish. And here I am. This in its entirety, I'll show you first, is 18 count beach sand from To Die For Fabrics. You know that I haven't done much of anything up there, which I do have a few stray stitches. I am still in that water, but I see progress now. This looks different. I did do the beach ball that's in the middle of the water, and the section down here is completely done. I think what I might try to do next is kind of finish this, and then, because that's where there's a page break right there. So if I can get this part done, then over here, it's all one page and it's a lot easier. And it does go a little bit faster. I've had a mistake or two that I've had to pull out when I'm at the page break. So there it is. We're almost there. And then I can go back and do some of the stray stitches. Maybe, I don't know if this could be a June finish. I'm not going to commit. But once that's done, then the next month I can just go back and do stitches and backstitch, because there's a bit of backstitch, and call it finished, and then get this in the scrapbook. I have some great pictures of the kids at the beach when they were little. Oh, that would be a lot of fun to have this on one side and pictures of the kids on the other side of the scrapbook if I were to scrapbook that. I have to think about that. That's an idea. All right, so that was this week's stitches. I got a lot accomplished. I am really pleased and happy with how the week went stitching wise. Plans. I'm so excited with these plans. I can't even tell you. On the first day of summer, Beth, the Steadfast Stitcher, and I have chosen to start Summer Quaker by Lila Studio. I am working on Spring Quaker, and it will get some work this weekend. It's kind of like one last hurrah before I probably concentrate on this one instead. And super exciting. So Beth and I have created a hashtag. It's hashtag Summer by the Shore. Is there SAL on the top, or is it just hashtag Summer by the Shore? I will check. I don't think I can tell right now. I can't remember. Beth just posted about it too on Instagram. I don't know. I'll check and I'll put the proper hashtag. But if you, I don't remember if there's an SAL after hashtag Summer by the Shore. I don't know, things escape me sometimes. I think I know it, and then I'm like, I don't remember. But so excited. So Beth and I kind of opened this up as well to see if other people were interested in stitching this with us. And we're so excited that there are so many of you that are going to stitch this with us, that we are co-hosting a Start Summer Quaker Stitch Along on the first day of summer on Wednesday, June 21st. If you either go to Beth's Facebook group, which is called Crafts and Books, it is fantastic. Beth is a lovely person. If you're not watching her Flosstubes, you're really missing out on some beautiful, beautiful projects. And she has a Facebook group that includes book club. So especially if you like reading, it is definitely something to check into. My Facebook group is Stitching by the Shore. Mine is very eclectic, and I show life along with stitching. So if you're okay with that, then come on over and join us. But anyway, so in each of our Facebook groups, we have the event listed. It is a single Zoom link because Beth is much better at Zoom than I am. So it'll be Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, because Beth and I are both on the East Coast of the US. And I know that there are several stitching friends that hopefully I've listed that they're coming to the Zoom as well. And if you've already started it and you want to join us, feel free, because I would love to see your progress. It's a beautiful, beautiful piece. And every time I see somebody stitching it, I just love it. And I love all the options and ideas that people have for stitching it. So feel free to jump in on that if you have already started it. But we would love you to join us. And I am going to use Fabrics by Stephanie, Nantucket Sky. I think that's going to be beautiful with those colors. If I have to along the way make any changes of color, I will let you know what I'm doing with that. The other thing, I had thrown this out there. I talked about the new Barbara Anna. What's it called? It's a new one in the Dreaming series, and I don't have it here. CreativePoppies.com is Creative Poppy. If you Google Barbara Anna Creative Poppy, the site will come up. So you can get Barbara Anna's digitals from there. And I probably can't wait until it's a printed piece. So I'll probably get it as a digital. But one of her most recent ones is, it's all beachy. It's all kind of the beachy stuff. So you know I have to have it. And it's done in this beautiful, deep, almost terracotta kind of color, which I may mimic. I'm not sure. But I threw out there to both, I believe last week on the video, as well as in my Facebook group, hey, would anybody want to stitch this with me? And as we were going along, some people may not want to stitch that, but so many people have Barbara Annas. So we are going to do a hashtag Stitch Barbara Anna kind of event. And so I want you to start to look and see if you have any Barbara Annas. If you get Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine, there's a Barbara Anna, if not in every issue, almost every issue. So there's plenty of options there if you were looking. I pulled out the three that I happen to have paper from. I have Witchy Dreams, which is so much fun. I have Forest Queen. And I have Dreaming Miss Claus. But even though I have all of those, I want to get that new summer one in the series, and that's the one I would want to start. So let's tentatively say maybe a July 1st start. That's very loose and goosey kind of thing. You know me, that doesn't really matter. When is July 1st? July 1st is a Saturday. Oh, so that might be a really good day to start it. So look and see if you have a Barbara Anna that you are either currently stitching or you would like to start, because hashtag Stitch Barbara Anna means anything, right? So think about it. I would love to have you join me. And now I need to get that pattern and start figuring out if I do want that fabric and kitting it on up. So hopefully something to look forward to in the next few weeks. So those are the two plans, but the one set in stone is Summer Quaker starting next Wednesday. So excited. Shopping, I only have a little bit of shopping to show you, which is good because we are starting to, oh gosh, and I meant to, let me just do this because I need to show you something that I got for various reasons. So let me bring it up. There we go. All right, so first off, I did participate in Friday Night Fight Nights. I was on a Zoom. Beth from Crafts and Books has Zooms that are every week, different days, couple nights and couple afternoons. And so there's a Friday night one. So we were on Friday night, and then half of us went over to Brandy's site in the middle of the Zoom. Once 10 o'clock came, I wasn't planning on it, but I was awake, and everybody else was doing it. So I was like, let's see. Facebook kind of messed me up. I thought I'd won some the last month, and I hadn't. So I was like, well, let's look. And, you got to be quick on those Friday Night Fight Nights or you lose out. Well, I was quick, and I won 2 different pieces. So I want to show you. This first one is called Ocean Depths. And, yep, it's a blue. Isn't it beautiful? I love, love, love that. How would Dreaming Mrs. Claus look on that? That might be kind of cool. I know it's a different color. I'm also going to look at, I don't know what the colors are in the new Barbara Anna. I'll have to see. And then this other one, it's so funny. This one's softer than the other one. I wonder if there's a different dyeing process when it's lighter or darker colors. This is called Coral Sand. And isn't this beautiful? It's gorgeous. It's not quite dark enough, I think, for Autumn Quaker, the Jardin Privé. But there's a few of the things that I might like to do this on. So, love it, love it. So I actually got a couple this time around. She had a lot of linens, I think. There was a lot of linens. If you were a linen stitcher, you had the chance to get some pieces. Then the other thing that I picked up a digital pattern. So how many of you watch Stem X Stitch on Flosstube? Nicole, I'm 95% sure it's not. I know names, and then yes, Nicole. Then I second guess myself and am not sure. Nicole is I don't know how new she is, because she's pretty good at stitching, and she changes up stitches and stuff. I have not seen, I came late to the party with her Flosstube, so I did not see it from the beginning. I have to go back and watch some of her older ones. But Nicole has got a great stitching style, and she just decided to dip her toe into designing. And so she has one pattern on Etsy, and she showed it, and I thought it was super cute, and I love supporting people, you know that. And I could see myself stitching it, so I bought it. And it is called Save the Bees, and that's what it looks like. And what's really kind of cool is she shows it, or she gives you in 2 different colorways. So that's one colorway, and some of the floss suggestions are slightly different than on this one, I believe. She was talking about it on her last video, and I want to say her mom stitched the blue version here. so much fun. I think, you know me and blue, so I think I might go with this version. But everything is provided in the download, so you get an option of multiple different ways to doing the piece. Even, wouldn't it be cute if you wanted to do just like a little row of bees, if you just wanted to stitch that. There's these little row of these flowers, or even depending on their size, you might be able to stitch if you had like a summer tree and you wanted to stitch like a bee and make a little round ornament. So many options with this. So I will link Nicole's store, Stem X Stitch, down below if you would be interested in supporting her on her very first Flosstube, not Flosstube, pattern that she's designed. And she has the most unique and awesome take on a temperature chart. She hasn't shown it lately. I'm sure if you go back, I meant to look on her Flosstubes to see if there was a number where she really discusses it. I'm sure on her first one she does, of how she's doing a temperature chart. And it is so cool and really, really interesting that I really, I would strongly suggest you check her out and see what she's doing. It's so much fun. What a creative idea. So anyway, so that's it for my shopping. Let's do the giveaways. And I don't have much going on in life, so that'll be quick. Just a quick reminder, Karen, I have your name still in here. Karen Ennis. There we go. You won this You Are My Sunshine chart. So if you could get back to me with your address. I did a check. I didn't check Instagram this morning, but I did check Gmail and there was nothing there. So if you sent it, please try to send it. Please send it again because Gmail clearly ate it or somebody ate it. Or if you haven't seen it, please get back to me within a week. My next video, I will choose a new winner, but I would love to send it to you, Karen. So please, if you get a chance, please do that. And then this week's giveaway, which was really popular, is a 14 count piece, 18 by 29 piece of Neptune from Bestitchme. Isn't it beautiful? But I really wanted to share this. I have blues, right? So we have a lot of 14 count fans. I love it. I absolutely love it. And so many people put the word Neptune in their comment. So here we go with the blue bowl. I did mix them around this morning because I knew there were so many. But let me do one more mix. Now, in YouTube, because, you know, none of these sites really can keep things the way they are. It's like they don't understand the adage of if it's not broke, don't fix it. So, and I don't know if this is visible from the front end of YouTube when you're looking at comments. I haven't really paid attention. Or if it's just on the back end when it's my comments. But for 75% of the people, it now has the YouTube name plus numbers after it. Now, I know some people use numbers, some people don't. So I don't know what is or is not done by the user. And I don't know if it's if you've created your own handle, those numbers aren't there. Otherwise they are. I don't know, it's a bit confusing. So I had started not really thinking, and some of the people I wrote and there's a number after it. Some I was like, oh, I don't know whether or not to do that. So if I call your name and there's a number after it, but that's your YouTube name that you have without the numbers, or if I give it without numbers, you can always reach out and I can always check the thing. Because I didn't know whether I was supposed to do the numbers or not then. Most of you do not, so I went with the err on the side of not, and we can always fix. Okay, so now that I've mixed it around enough, congratulations, Maura Jones. You have won, make sure I can read my own writing. Yes, you have won the Neptune fabric. So if you could get back to me within the next 2 weeks, I will send that out to you. Alrighty, I can't. Oh, you know what? I'll get a bag and I'll put that in so I can keep the name with it. Alrighty, this week, you've already seen what the giveaway is going to be. I decided, let's highlight Nicole, and I am going to give away a Save the Bees pattern. So if you could say the word honey, because we have these little jars of honey, in your comment, when I pick a winner, what I will do is you will give me your address and I will pass that on to Nicole, because I've bought your pattern already, and Nicole will email you the pattern. So if you would like a chance to stitch this in one colorway or another colorway, or Nicole is all about use your creativity if you want. If you have a vision of seeing it in a different way, like you know me, I could do this on a green, like a light green, like my Fenchurch green or something, and I bet you it'd be pretty too. Nicole's all about use that creativity if you want. This is just a guideline. So say the word honey and I will put your name in the blue bowl, and I would love to give away one of her patterns. And yeah, I love supporting new designers and kind of helping them because it takes a lot to design, and I'm not sure I have the brain for it. So I'm very inspired by those who do. All right, so that is the giveaways. If you're here just for that, I mean, really, there's not much more. But have a great week. Life-wise, there's not a lot. This weekend is Father's Day weekend, and Mo, I asked him, you want to do anything? Yeah, he's not sure. Anything specific you want to eat? Yeah. So I'm like, well, if you're not going to give me any ideas, we're just going to wing it type of thing. And I think we're just winging it. I do believe it's going to be a nice weekend. Today is going to be a little bit, I don't, you know, we're getting that kind of funny light when it's more cloudy than it is sunny right now. And we are supposed to get some pretty strong thunderstorms potentially this afternoon, which is a little bit disappointing because I'm hoping they go by quickly, because the periodically, especially in the summer, my neighborhood, they do a lot of different activities. And so they're bringing in a food truck tonight. And this food truck, they also have a place in, I think it's Rehoboth, I don't think it's Lewis. They also have like a site you can go to, a restaurant-ish place, and one of the owners is vegan. So there's always vegan options, and I already saw the menu for the food truck. So because most of the time I can't eat at a lot of these places or with food trucks because they never have anything I can eat. But here I can, so I'm super excited. So fingers crossed. I said to Mo, well, if they cancel the food truck because of the weather, we're going to the restaurant and doing takeout if nothing else. He said, all right, that's fine. So either way, I'm getting that for dinner tonight. I don't have a plan. I don't have a plan for dinner. We went grocery shopping this week. I spent a lot of money on, I'm not exactly sure what. When it's just Mo and I, groceries never cost much. You add Connor or Megan Liz or however many people you add, and all of a sudden my grocery bill goes way, way up. Connor likes to do mixing and matching of things, and he'll make things, and so anyway, my bill goes up. So we spent a lot of money, and I don't have a lot of plans for what I'm cooking. I'm like, I really don't know what I'm doing. So I said to Mo, I really don't want to have to go grocery shopping again after we just bought all that food. So tonight we're getting food taken out somehow or other, whether it's the food truck or the restaurant. I think I have a plan. I saw a recipe for grilling tempeh, which tempeh is very temperamental. So we might try that this weekend because the weather's supposed to be nice. So we'll see. Yeah, that's about it. So what's happening next week? Not a lot. Mo actually has Monday off. His company gives them a day off for Juneteenth. So he's super excited because Monday mornings is pickleball for beginners. So, and he's more on the beginner side, so he'd be able to play with people that are more, you know, along his skill level. So I think, weather permitting, Monday morning, he's on the pickleball courts, which he normally can't do, obviously, because he's working. So he's excited about that. And I'm not sure what else, what we may do. Maybe just take a ride, if nothing else. It is summertime now, so where we go is kind of dependent. I kind of don't want to go where the traffic is, and there's really just one way of going places, up and down Delaware. So, unless you want to go another way, which you can't get to everywhere the other way. So, you know, you do what you do. But I didn't get to Salty Yarns. I was going to go with a couple of neighbors, and that was the one day of the week that it was really slated to be some bad storms. And we got some rain, and then we got storms a little bit later. But I was going to be doing the driving, and I don't see well in rain. So they were very gracious and said, no, we'll do another day. Besides, it's supposed to be a very pretty town that Salty Yarns has moved to. So I said, well, don't we want to see it when it's nice anyway? And we're going to go to lunch and the whole bit. So we'll just postpone it. I don't know when we're going to go now. So if you go to Salty Yarns, I know I've gotten pictures sent to me. Feel free to send pictures. Show me what you're getting. Show me the place. All that good stuff. I cannot wait to go. Super excited about that. But really, yeah, I don't have much to do. Connor worked a lot this week, which is good. You know, he picked up a shift today. He said, well, it's only 4 hours, but it's some extra money. I said, that's good, because the way you spend money when the semester starts, you need to make money now. Yeah, I think we're just gonna take it as it comes this weekend. I'm okay with that, which is really funny because I used to be a super planner type of person. Maybe it's because when the kids were smaller and everything else, I wasn't really good at going with the flow. Now I just kind of go with the flow a little bit more. So that's about it. I'm going to leave you there so that you can get on to your next Flosstuber or TV show or podcast or whatever you happen to be listening to. I want to say thank you so much for being here with me and maybe stitching, maybe doing some organization or cooking or whatever you happen to be doing. I'm glad and grateful that you spend this time with me. I really do appreciate it. And as always, I hope you're well. I hope you're safe. I saw there's smoke coming in other places now, so take care out there. And as always, my Canadian friends, you are in my thoughts with these fires. I guess it's going to be a summer of fires, so I'm going to keep you in my thoughts with that as we keep going. Ironically, I did see that because of what they say, a cooler something in California, they might have a lower risk of fires this year. So hey, we'll take it, right? Whatever we can get with the less risk of fires. But I hope you're well and I hope you're safe. I hope you're taking care of yourself. Remember, you are important, you matter, and take some time, whether it's stitching or something else for yourself. Go do it. Enjoy yourself. You will benefit from it. I really do believe that. So until next time, happy stitching.